If you're a parent of a kid with ADHD, you know this feeling, right? That sense that there's this fast, loud, and honestly pretty overwhelming world going on inside their head. Well, today we're going to dive right into what's happening in that amazing, complex brain. And more importantly, we'll see how just a few key shifts in our own thinking can turn that daily friction into real connection. This idea of a loud, quiet mind is such a perfect way to put it. Because inside, you've got this storm of thoughts, ideas, and feelings all swirling around. But on the outside, it might just look like they're not listening, or they're being defiant, or they're just checked out. And as a parent, trying to navigate that storm feels just as chaotic, doesn't it? It's this constant, exhausting contrast. So, have you ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels? You cycle through feeling frustrated, then anxious, then maybe even totally helpless. If you have, you are so not alone. And listen, those feelings, they aren't a sign that you're failing. They're actually a super predictable response to a fundamental mismatch. It's like you're trying to solve a problem, but you've been handed the wrong instruction manual for the unique brain you're parenting. And that really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? So much of the daily conflict comes from this one great misunderstanding. We tend to see a behavior and we judge it as a moral issue, laziness or defiance, when it's almost always about a skill gap that depends on their current state. What looks like won't is so often can't, at least not right now. Okay, let's talk about this first trap because this one is huge. How many times have you thought, but I've seen you do this before. You can do it when you want to. The brain-based reality, though, is that for a kid with ADHD, skills like focus or starting a task, they aren't always online. It's like a shaky Wi-Fi signal. Access to that ability literally blinks in and out, depending on their stress levels, their interests, their energy. So it's not about wanting to, it's about being able to in that exact moment. And that leads us right into the next big trap. We think, okay, if I just raise the stakes, if I create a consequence, that'll teach them. But what actually happens? More often than not, that pressure just cranks up their internal distress. It floods their nervous system, and that shuts down the exact parts of the brain they need for learning and problem solving. So it just backfires, setting you both up for an even bigger struggle later on. Oh, this idea is a game changer, the two clashing clocks. See, as parents, we live by a linear clock, right? We have to get ready by 7:30, we leave at 7:45, school starts at 8. But for a lot of kids with ADHD, time is really just two things, now and not now. That's it. So when we're stressing about something that's in the not now zone for them, our urgency feels totally random and aggressive, and their lack of urgency feels like disrespect to us. You're not just on different pages, you're operating in completely different time zones. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? How do we get out of these cycles? Well, it all comes down to one single, powerful mindset shift. We have to stop focusing all our energy on getting immediate compliance and start focusing on building our child's capacity. So instead of asking, how can I make them do this? We start asking, what support do they need to be able to do this? And this all boils down to the most important principle you will ever hear for parenting a kid with ADHD: state before skill. A brain that is dysregulated, overwhelmed, flooded, stressed out, it simply cannot access its higher level skills. Things like planning, impulse control, managing emotions, they all go offline. And listen, this is for us too, right? A dysregulated parent cannot help regulate a dysregulated child. So creating a state of calm and safety, that has to come first. It's the foundation for everything else. Once you really get this, everything else starts to click into place. You start to see that regulation, managing the nervous system, is the main control dial. You see that behavior isn't a verdict on their character, it's just a signal. You understand that their skills might be lagging behind, but that doesn't mean their values are missing. And you know, deep down, that a feeling of safety has to come before any real learning can happen. Let's really dig into this one for a second. Behavior is a signal. So when your child has a total meltdown over homework, it's not a declaration of war on you. It's a signal flare. It's their brain screaming, the demand you've just placed on me is way bigger than the resources I have right now. And that simple reframe changes your job from being the punisher in chief to being a compassionate detective, trying to figure out, okay, where's the mismatch here? Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but what do I do when we're 10 minutes late and nobody can find their shoes and everyone is yelling? Let's get practical. Let's move from the mindset to the actual toolbox. So in that moment of chaos, here's your emergency playbook. It's super simple. Step 1. Before you do anything else, check your state first. Is your jaw tight? Is your voice rising? You cannot pour from an empty cup. Step 2. lower the demand. Whatever you were asking for, just pause it or make it smaller. Step 3, offer co-regulation. Just your calm presence, a glass of water, a shared deep breath. And finally, step 4, and this is crucial, save the lecture. A dysregulated brain can't learn anything. The lesson can wait until everybody is calm again.
And check this out. This is such a perfect real-world example, that chaotic morning routine. So instead of just stacking command after command, which totally overwhelms their brain, you try a simple visual chart with maybe 4 steps. Instead of threatening them for being slow, which just adds stress, you use a visual countdown timer. You make time something they can see. You're basically taking the pressure off of you and your relationship, and you're putting it onto a system. It's a game changer.
And what about that classic homework standoff? We've all been there. Instead of demanding they just sit down and focus for an hour, you build momentum. You start with one ridiculously easy problem to get a quick win. You use short, 10-minute sprints with a fun movement break. You can act as a body double, just sitting and working quietly nearby. That presence is incredibly supportive. And you use a super clear first-then plan. First, we do this page of math, then we go on the trampoline. It makes the reward feel real and immediate. You know, when you start using these tools and really living this mindset, something pretty remarkable starts to happen. The whole energy in your home begins to shift. You slowly move from this place of constant conflict management to one of genuine connection, of being on the same team, of building skills together. And really, that's the ultimate goal here. Look, all these tools, the charts, the timers, the systems, they're fantastic. They really are. But they're not the main thing. Your single most powerful, most transformative tool is your ability to change what you think in the middle of a hard moment. That internal shift from he's being defiant to he's struggling, that is what makes every other strategy actually work. Just remember, your kid's inner world is a whirlwind. It's loud and it's fast, and they are looking to you to be their anchor in that storm. When you can find your own calm, your own inner steadiness, that becomes this quiet, organizing gravity that can help their loud, quiet mind finally find its footing. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question. Don't think about changing everything overnight. Just, what is one small adjustment, one tiny thing you can try to do today to focus on your child's capacity instead of just demanding their compliance? Because that one small change, when you practice it over time, well, that's the start of a whole new story for you and your family.